Welcome back to the Humanities E3 2014 Retrospective Zoo. I'm the venomous CJ Black. Alongside me is the sharp-toothed Patrick Stardust.
Roar.
And joining us once more is legendary winged creature Joshua Garrity from Crane and Rinse. Welcome.
Wait, what was that? We've been invaded. What? Eh?
This isn't that podcast. Where are they? No, Joshua Garrity from Crane and Rinse. Oh, we were just about to talk about the PlayStation conference, particular Destiny, the white PlayStation 4.
Yeah, I've played the alpha, and I was going to mention how much I've enjoyed it, all the dancing gestures I've done, playing tag with it. It was fantastic.
Probably going to go on to talk about whether the buzz from the game had faded or risen again. Wait, who's that?
Bloody hell, it's only Solaire.
The way I see it, our fates appear to be intertwined. In a land brimming with hollows, could that really be mere chance? So what do you say? Why not help one another on this lonely journey? We are amidst strange beings in a strange land. The flow of time itself is convoluted, with heroes centuries old phasing in and out. The very fabric wavers, and relations shift and obscure. There's no telling how much longer your world and mine will remain in contact. But use this to summon one another as spirits, cross the gaps between the worlds, and engage in jolly cooperation. Of course, we are not the only ones engaged in this, but I am a warrior of the sun. Spot my summon signature easily by its brilliant aura. If you miss it, you must be blind.
Thanks, Solaire. Oh, wait, what's that over there on the floor?
It's Josh's summon sign! And our previously recorded podcast that broke at the start, was dissolved by a fissure between worlds and an invader.
Quick, summon him!
Do you think that worked?
I don't know.
So how do we think Destiny's going to do? Do we think it's going to be a massive success?
I hope it does really well.
Yeah. It ticks all the right boxes for a general audience, like multiplayer focus, first-person shooter, and it has a big marketing push. It's got the backing of one of the console leader at the moment. So, I think it will sell well. Whether it's I don't think it will be like a Call of Duty or a Grand Theft Auto, but I think it will sell healthily.
I think the core audience on 360 will turn up for it. I think next gen, there's not really a lot out, and if there's anything that probably plays into Bungie's hands a little bit, it's that Wolfenstein made a really big impression with people that picked it up and played it, and a lot of folks were sort of, guys, it's nice to get my hands on a AAA game again. So that might play into their favour. Be interesting to see how the PS3 sales are. As a curiosity, but anyway, we move on to the order Gears of Steampunk. Better footage than I'd previously seen, I must admit, but I'm still not sold. And especially now we've seen more of Bloodborne, it kind of makes the order look a little more average.
Yeah, I got the same feeling. Like, you watch it and you think, it looks all right, but I'm kind of at 6 out of 10 hype on that. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of just hovering over average on it. Like, it looks all right, but don't know. Like, the demo bit they showed off, the first bit was all right, sort of padding very quietly through a dark place, and then it was just run away from the thing, pew, 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 and then stand still and pew, pew, pew. Like, I don't know. It didn't really show off much of what it showed off the werewolfy type stuff. That was kind of cool, but it didn't really show off what it is. Or maybe it did, and maybe that's not very good.
It just seemed like a standard cover third-person shoot. I have to be honest, I really wasn't impressed by the footage of that game. It looked very, very pretty. Technically, graphically, it looks gorgeous. But from a gameplay perspective, it's kind of what we've had before and not really doing anything different. Like, Vanquish was a cover shooter, but it was a cover shooter with a twist. Like, it had all the rocket boots and stuff like that, and the slowing down time and everything like that. This game just looks like Gears of War, except with werewolves instead of locusts, which is not really interesting to me.
I mean, if it was coming out on regular consoles, that's the sort of game I'd look at and go, I might take a look when that's 15 quid.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can look at a game and you can guess that it will drop in price fairly quickly. And if that was running on sort of a 360 or a PS3, that's how I'd mark it. And sometimes they're the games where you get preconceptions from the early footage and you end up picking them up later cheaply and you go, actually, this is pretty good. Because you've gone into it just maybe wanting to fill a little pocket of time, or and that's perhaps where you build up an audience for a second game to take things on a little bit further. But thus far, I can't say that I'm awed with the stuff I've seen.
It looks like classic B game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's a shame because it looked awesome at the first trailer, and it's just I don't know, making me less excited with every trailer.
So then we bounced into Untwined, which looked a little bit Journey meets Flower, and with the punchline that it's out now.
It is out now. I might have bought it.
Really?
Yeah.
What, have you played it?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've played
good?
about 2/3 of it so far. Okay, Entwined is a story about a bird and a fish. The fish is orange, the bird is blue. They love each other.
Yeah.
And everything they want to do, they want to be together and become a dragon.
Oh, I didn't get that from the trailer.
Yeah, they want to become a dragon.
Okay.
But
I think we all do.
We do, yeah. Like I want to become a dragon.
To be honest, I've never thought of the alchemy of adding fish to birds before. So maybe I've just been doing it wrong all these years.
Yeah.
As I break down the chemical lab.
Well, you've got the scales of the fish, you've got the wings of the dragon.
I know. I think a lot of us make the mistake of thinking, dragon lizard, like lizard bird. But clearly, we've been thinking about it the wrong way.
No,
yeah.
That's why the experiments haven't worked so far. We've been using the wrong materials. That's why we keep getting fucking griffins. Anyway, yes. Entwined is a story of a bird and a fish they can't meet, they can't touch each other, but they want to be together. How this manifests in the game is you fly down a tunnel and fly through things that are the same colour as you. Each one is on a different side of the screen. The fish is on the right and is orange. Sorry, the left and is orange. The bird is on the right and is blue. Each one controls on its own thumbstick. They're stuck on their own half of the screen, so you can't make the fish go all the way to the right. It can only go up sort of halfway to the top and bottom. And initially, you'll just be kind of, moving your sticks to line them up and go poof through little holes, sort of like Super Hexagon or something like that. And then it gets a bit more complicated where it will have a series of them and you have to kind of rotate the stick as you go through. So kind of go pew, pew, pew. And it gets harder and more complicated. And when you do really well, like a little bond will appear between the fish and the bird. And it will get stronger the better you do. And then at a certain point, you kind of come out into an open area and they become a green dragon. And you fly about a bit and make a nice trail behind you like Tron. And then you go do the next one where you're another fish and another bird. There's not levels, there's lifetimes. But I'm 2/3 of the way through it so far, and it's not taken very long. It's pretty and it's cute. I put my first gameplay up on Facebook and Twitter as well, and people seem to be quite interested by it. So yeah, it's all right. Yeah, any questions about it? I can answer anything you have.
No, I have to hold my hand up as the one person in the universe that didn't actually get on with Journey. Yeah, that's me. So yeah, I looked at it. It looked quite nice, but the thing that I thought when it was on screen was, God, I haven't played Rez in ages.
Yep.
And I loved Rez. So
yeah, it's very sort of. It feels like a game that game company would make. Sort of nearer to like the Flower era. It feels more like that sort of thing. But I thought it was pretty fun. About £6. It was alright.
Yeah, especially it's nice to see things announced at the show that are available immediately. That's quite a nice little.
That's always a nice positive. Like, play it now. Like, what? Okay. Precisely. Right, so I think that's precisely the right level of hype. Like, you show a trailer, you get, oh, that looks really good. Play it now. I'm going to do that then. Cool.
So then we jumped into infamous Second Son DLC, and a character called Fetch, which brought no end of Mean Girls gags to my mind. And maybe that's going to be part of the marketing, that Fetch is going to happen. Because aren't you playing the main game now?
I am indeed, yes, and I've met Fetch about an hour ago, and sucked her neon power out of her.
I was wondering where you're going then.
Yeah, it's all above board here. I learned neon off her, and so far it's more fun than the other one. You get smoke initially at the start of the game, then you get neon, and this looks like a whole DLC made of the neon power. It looks like it will control a little bit differently as well to the way it works with Delsin. So I'm up for that. Their DLC packs have been good before, like the Festival of Blood they did for Infamous was fucking brilliant. So I think they think this is probably going to be quite good too.
Dun, dun, dun. Any thoughts on it, Josh?
Not really.
No. I will insert a bit of a plug here because it's something that hasn't had as much attention as it deserves. On Cane and Rinse, Ryan Harmon has done a half an hour look into comparing the Seattle of Second Son with the real Seattle, and sort of saying where bits are, where bits have been moved, things that have been changed, like a certain favourite copy shop of mine, which there's one on every corner over there and they've been moved. I.e. there's none of them there. But it's really, really good, so check that out on Cane and Rinse. So
You're showing me up here. That should have been me doing that. Oh,
no,
well.
it is a belting bid, and it deserves far more attention than it's had. So.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Well, it's good that CJ did it, because you don't want to look like an egotist, though, do you?
Oh, true. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, well done, CJ. Thanks.
That's all right. Just put the money in the envelope as we agreed.
Yeah.
So then we went on to, and this was a bit of a surprise for me, Little Big Planet 3.
Where did that come from?
I'm not a fan of Little Big Planet at all, but this kind of looked like a Little Big Planet crossed with Thomas Was Alone. And Sumo Digital as well, who I've got a world of time for. It looks good, and it looks like it controls a little bit more responsively. Yeah. I liked it. I liked what I saw, and I thought there was more character in the new characters than there was in Sackboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't know. I was watching it, and it looked like... didn't look like a new game. It looked like an add-on pack. I couldn't shake that feeling the entire time. Like, oh, we've got these new characters. Like, okay, they're cool, but why couldn't you do that last time?
I thought it was a nice little addition when they said that all of the levels that have been created on Little Big Planet 1 and 2 will automatically work on the new game and will up-res.
Which is brilliant, because there's that worry that, the first couple of months is going to be dick all good to play with. And then, but I don't know, it just... I like Little Big Planet. I really like Little Big Planet. It's a good series. I enjoy playing it. I've played the PS, both the PS3 versions. I played the Vita version quite a bit. I like them a lot. I don't know. I don't think it needs to be on the PS4. It didn't look very next gen. I don't know. I expected more. I couldn't tell you what it was.
I think it's good that there is a Little Big Planet game on the PS4. It just doesn't particularly look like a huge leap, like you said. I don't know. Like, my opinion of the Little Big Planet series as a whole is that I really love it conceptually, but because the jumping is just really awful in that game, I never quite get on with it. But I don't know. I'm always glad it exists. It's weird. Like, it's not for me, but I'm glad that that kind of creation tool is being given to the general public, and all these crazy levels are getting created. I think that's really healthy for the industry to have a game like that out there. It's just, it's not for me.
So thereafter, you understand I'm sitting up waiting for one game, and just before it, and ending just after, my internet died. I kid you not. Essentially, you died appeared in front of my face as I kind of went, what? And I started getting messages on Twitter like, it's happening, and I'm like, why? And I tried rebooting my router, and eventually the Xbox didn't reconnect, but I managed to get back on Twitch via Wii U, and it finished. And I'm like, what? So I had to catch up with this afterwards. But Bloodborne, we had Josh come on and gush wonderfully about it beforehand. Just a trailer, no footage looks incredible.
Yeah.
Then there was 50 seconds of footage shown the night after. The big demo was shown to journalists, and then the original Project Beast trailer, which was grabbed and turned into GIFs and then sewn back into videos about a month before, finally got released in a decent quality on the internet.
Yeah.
For me, that's a system seller for Sony, and I think they realise it.
Yeah, just everything. Like the trailer itself was a great statement of intent. The trailer they showed during the conference, just like establishing the atmosphere and just kind of what the enemies are going to be like and so forth and so on. But everything after the conference, where they started talking about the game in detail, like what you're going to do, like the fact that there are no shields for the players in the game, and you have to rely on being quick and using your gun to stun enemies and having a more active combat. All that stuff really interested me because it seemed like while the foundations are very much rooted in the Souls philosophy of design, they are doing something very different with it, with the intricacies of the mechanics. They are doing something very different. And plus, I'm really happy that it's a new IP and it's not Demon's Souls 2. I know some people really wanted a sequel to that game, but
do you know anyone like that, CJ?
But I'm not disparaging Demon's Souls in any way, but it's more that I would rather see Miyazaki do something completely new and impress us with a new story. Because he is so good at world building, like creating universes. It would be a shame to waste his time in the same universes. Like I want to see all the worlds that he could create. So I'm really happy Bloodborne is this new universe, this new world, and also just a different time period to draw inspiration from. Moving away from the medieval stuff, and it looks more like an 18th century kind of vibe going on there.
Yeah, kind of crossed with a frontier town western.
Yeah, the aesthetic really reminded me of a film called Brotherhood of the Wolf, a French film called Brotherhood of the Wolf.
With Mark Dacascos in,
yeah,
very good film.
Yeah, and I mean, I couldn't help but think maybe Miyazaki watched that film when he was coming up with the ideas of Bloodborne. Obviously, Bloodborne has its creepy monster designs that aren't in Brotherhood of the Wolf whatsoever. But just the image of the main character with his hat and his long coat just really reminded me of Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Well, he does like to put his influences in there. I mean, there's Artorias is taken from Guts from Berserk.
From Berserk, yeah.
But there were little things that I heard in interviews afterwards which genuinely got me excited, where they were talking about that sort of almost barbershop razor that he's got, that you can swing it and it's really quick, or you can extend it to the full length and it's slower but it does more damage. The guns, if somebody's over the other side of the room and you fire the gun, nothing will happen. It's a close range kind of weapon. It just sounds like there's something potentially really balletic within even that combination that's there. Never mind the extras that will inevitably topple in beyond that. They were talking about when you see a crowd of people and trying to avoid them and nip into back streets, and if anybody sees you, trying to outrun them, and what would happen if you wade into that groups. And that fear of a crowd is something that it's potentially, it sounds to me that next gen could do really well.
They also talked about other stuff where the enemies are affected by these random changes in the environment. So, for example, if the bell tolls in this tower, crowds of enemies will come out on the street, and that's not guaranteed to happen every time.
Oh man!
So it's because we're so used to as Souls games having okay, this enemy's going to be here, and you learn the pattern of how to attack those enemies in the order they appear appear in. So the idea of having these random events happen where just these enemies pour in and you just have to deal with them, I think that's a great way of shaking up the formula and surprising people who think they're Souls veterans. You know what I mean?
Because there was stuff as well on one interview that I saw where a guy said he went into the boss battle and there was somebody that looked like him on another level, and it was another player, and you can decide if you want to help or hinder that player.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And Miyazaki refuses to tell anybody about what they're doing with the online stuff. So I get the impression that he might have a few more twists within that anyway, but that's exciting.
It does the best looking coat of E3.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they also mentioned, like all the armor sets are kind of going to be like that. Like there isn't going to be heavy Havel's armor. It's all going to be leather and stuff like that.
I think dropping the shield probably necessitates that, doesn't it? I think with the focus on being able to look nippy and nip about, I think having the big heavy sets isn't going to be as it wouldn't thematically work. I don't think.
Well, go on. Sorry, Steve.
No, I think the upswing of when Dark Souls went multi-format, there were a lot of people that, having fallen in love with Dark Souls on, say, 360 or PC, bought a PS3 to play Demon Souls. And Demon Souls built up its own momentum, and then Dark Souls sold really well, and Dark Souls 2 did. They've got all these sort of arrows that are pointing in towards Bloodborne, which just to me says that it's going to be huge. And if it's going to be what they're talking about, March time, aren't they? As a release date, that's really soon. To say that we've just seen a bit of a CGI trailer and a few bits of gameplay when elsewhere at E3 all we've been shown is screens and proof of concept. That's double exciting that it's nearly finished.
Well, they said they'd been Miyazaki's team has been working on it since the Artorias DLC, so they have been working on this for a long time. Hopefully it'll be. Yeah, because I know some people were disappointed with Dark Souls 2. I wasn't personally, but I do understand that it's kind of playing it safe as a sequel. It does feel like Bloodborne is the innovator. Like, this is the one where Miyazaki's kind of like, okay, I'm going to take the formula and do something different. So I couldn't be more excited for this game. It looks like it's going to be really promising.
Well, I mean,
it's the difference between Rock Band and Guitar Hero, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, with Dark Souls 2, in its defense, I still think it's pretty early because we're still falling into lore, and for a lot of folks that was already there and uncovered at the time that they started playing Dark Souls. So with Dark Souls 2, I'm falling into it slowly, and I think we've got more to come with the DLC. As well on that front.
I should say, as this is a Dark Souls podcast, I absolutely love Dark Souls 2. Like, I think it's great. I just slightly prefer the first one based on my experiences with the first one so far. But I do understand what people are saying when they say they're disappointed. I'm not one of those people, but I get it.
I think we're spoiled in a certain regard because we've got two games that stand on their own 2 feet. I mean, there's similarities between them as there were between Dark Souls and Demon Souls. But I think if I'm critical of Dark Souls 2 for anything, is it misses a little of Miyazaki's touch, his grace, and that's the difference. And even when you saw the early footage of as Project Beast as it was then, and those GIFs that were sewn together with onto a video with some Demon Souls music put over the top, you just looked at it and just went, "Oh, I want to go there." Yeah. And even in one of the, I think it was the interview with Colin Campbell and Phil Collar on Polygon, where Phil Collar said you started at a certain point in the demo, and in the distance, that's when you ended up at the end of the demo. It's like, these kind of mountain range that was way off. It's like, I'll have some of that.
Yeah.
So how did it go down at the conference? Because like I say, I was fighting for internet at that point.
it seemed like people were really excited, like really jazzed by the trailer. And I was kind of surprised because when Miyazaki's name came up on the screen, there were cheers in the audience, and that's really that's a really amazing feeling for me. Like that someone like Miyazaki is getting cheers from an E3 audience. You know, like. There are plenty of creators out there that us enthusiast gamers know and love, but very few of them get that kind of mainstream love that that E3 is kind of all about. So it's crazy that From Software have gone from this really super niche developer to being one of the rock stars of the industry.
Yeah. Well, within that regard, somebody said to Miyazaki, "Oh, is it going to be a little more accessible than Demon Souls and Dark Souls?" He was like, "Nope, it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough." And I think everybody else just went, "Whoa!" and just started rubbing their legs a little bit. It's like.
It's when you notice. I agree with you see that little indie darling that you love,
yeah.
And then you notice everyone. Like the first time you see a kid in public wearing a Minecraft T-shirt, you're like, "What? That kid's wearing a Minecraft in public." Do you know what I saw in game today? Do you know what I fucking saw in game? I have to mention this because I saw it and I nearly died laughing. I walked in, I turned around in the PC section, a boxed couple of copies of fucking Goat Simulator in a box. In game for £10, and I was like, Jesus Christ! I didn't know what to make of it. I wasn't sure whether to laugh or cry.
I'm failing to grasp your frame of reference here, but do go on, sir.
Well, like, it's Goat Simulator. What's that doing in game?
I don't know. I don't think that's as big a deal as 1,000 people cheering Miyazaki's name.
Yeah, I know.
The other day, I was having a conversation with a gent on Twitter, and he said that Miyazaki directed 2 Armored Core games. I was like, what? He said, yeah, he directed Armored Core 4 and Armored Core 4 For Answer, and they're probably the best games in the series. And For Answer has a load of Demon Souls references in it. I was like, to the internet immediately. So yeah, I managed to pick up the first one. I've got ordered for something like £3, and I think that For Answer's about £3 as well. So yeah, we'll have a look at those. Miyazaki's involved, definitely.
Yeah. So basically, we're all pretty hype on Bloodborne.
Oh, big time, yeah.
Woo!
So then Sony went into Far Cry 4 again.
Yeah, was this the trailer where they had the gameplay?
I don't know. I think this was the point where they said that you could play with people that don't own it. But
oh yeah, there was. Yeah, it was one with the sick elephants and stuff. Mm-hmm. Good. Enjoyed that trailer.
So then Adam Boyce came on stage. Genuinely looked like he loved being there. He looked really relaxed, like he was talking to his people. Incredibly enthusiastic. Very funny and kind of rolled with the punches as well. And I like seeing that. It's not a sort of stuffy exec just delivering their lines. He genuinely looked really up for it.
Yeah, I love that. I love when you see an executive come out and they're not really an executive, they're just your mate that wants to tell you about games. Mm-hmm. It's like, nice one, Adam Boyce. And he's one of the better people on Twitter as well. He's always cheerful and quite positive as well. I like that a lot. And he just seems to smile, and the whole the Brohei Broshida, and then Shuhei changed that in his Twitter name. It was great.
I do think his jokes are awful, though.
Oh,
I agree with what you're saying.
I think he knows that, though, doesn't he?
They're delightfully awful.
Okay.
So then we went into a trailer for Dead Island 2, and I make a confession now that I absolutely bloody love Dead Island. It janky broken maybe, but it absorbed me. I sunk tons and tons and tons of hours into it, and flat out enjoyed it. I thought the trailer that they showed was funny, and even if it doesn't look like the most brilliant thing on next gen, I'm curious to see what it's like. Just because I enjoyed the original as much as I did.
It looks like they've taken that trailer and gone the exact other direction to their very first trailer, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've gone, well, the first one was really sad and everyone was made it sad. Let's do a goofy one.
Well, they decided to market their game honestly this time, because that first trailer was so misleading. Because I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of this series. It's just not for me. But the trailer for the first game sold me on a game that I really wanted to play. I was like, wow, this is taking the zombie genre really seriously. I think and then the game is just arcadey fun. Like, oh, okay. But
there was a level of emotion in there, because that trailer was one of the best game trailers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think most of us saw that and just went,
Yeah.
but yeah, and that level of emotional involvement certainly wasn't there in the finished game. But all credit to them for drawing attention to it rather than just putting a headless woman in the box.
Yeah, as a piece of marketing, that trailer worked perfectly, because like even though the finished product wasn't what the trailer was selling, like everyone had their eyes on that game all the way through development and its release. So yeah, props to them for that. But
because it had disappeared before that into development hell for quite some time, I think, as well. So when it did surface, and it looked like it was a game that just got a little bit of a footnote in magazines. Oh, there's a zombie game that's coming out from Deep Silver, no release date, looks interesting. That's all it was at the bottom, and suddenly they were getting sort of full page spreads, and so it did its job. So and they probably employed somebody like Blur Studios, so they must have invested a bob or two to get it done. So then we went into Battlefield Hardline. Disney Infinity, we were told, was getting Hulk as an exclusive. Diablo 3 on PS4 is getting a Last of Us level, which is bizarre.
Weird.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Destiny's getting special armor on PS3. Magic 2, whatever that is.
Have you never played? Yeah, have you guys never played Magicka then?
I don't know what it is.
I've seen it. Right. I want to play it. I've just never had the people to play it with.
But basically, it's a really inaccessible game, because you're given all these different like elements, like rock, fire, water, and blah blah blah, and they're like the ingredients for spells. And the idea is that you can experiment with like different like combinations of these elements to create different magical effects. So it's kind of like an action game like Diablo, except instead of just clicking on the attack you want to do, you have to combine certain magical properties together to create the effect you want. It's really clever. It's a really funny little game. I'll be interested to see how they handle it on the console, because it really felt like a PC game, the first one at least. So I'll be interested to see how they handle the mechanics on the gamepad.
Has it got a big audience on PC? Has it been popular?
It's got a huge. I say huge. It's got a cult following. It is well loved, but it's not super popular. No.
It's Steam sale fodder all the time.
Yeah.
And the trailer was funny. This guy
he killed
in a bathrobe. Yeah.
Which is hilarious whenever animals are mistreated.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joshua Garrity, and...
Oh dear, James hates me now. Okay.
So we then went into another really funny segment, which was a kid's letter, which led into Tim Schafer and the reveal that Grim Fandango is coming out on PS4 and Vita.
Yes,
I believe so. This is big. Either way, it's big news, because I don't know if you've actually tried to play Grim Fandango on PC lately. It's pretty much impossible to set up.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad there's a version of Grim Fandango that's not going to be a pain in the butt to play. So yeah, this is really good, and it's considered one of Tim Schafer's best games. So
right, it's one of those ones I've always wanted to play and never really got round to.
Yeah, I've not played it. I played a lot of early Lucasfilm stuff like Zack McCracken and Maniac Mansion, but I didn't play Grim Fandango.
I mean, if you like Maniac Mansion, then you'll like Grim Fandango. It's kind of in that yeah, it has a similar vibe to those games. So, but it's considered one of the better ones in that genre. So yeah, definitely worth checking out.
So then we had, was it called something like Ready to Die? A Suda51 game?
Let It Die.
Yeah, Let It Die, that was it. So it looked like it was going to be a multiplayer thing, but on my Twitter, a lot of people seemed disappointed that a game that was coming out called Lily Bergamo has now become this.
I don't know. I know it's free to play. I heard that in the short time after that. It looks like, run around and shoot the guy, I guess.
Suda51 is so inconsistent. Like, sometimes he'll make great games like Killer 7, and then he'll make utter rubbish like Lollipop Chainsaw and stuff
Killer
like
is
that.
Dead.
So,
hey, enough.
Ugh.
We Paddy and I have completely different opinions on this because I think Killer is Dead is fantastic.
Yeah.
I haven't played Killer is Dead. So,
Don't.
Do there was that with Killer is Dead. There was a great back and forth between all the Matt Lee stuff where he was having a pop at it on Video Gamer, and then Chet Roy Vess on Chet and John just tore into that opinion and just praised the game out of the ballpark. And that's when I said to Pad, I was like, "Can you send it over? Because I'd quite like to have my own opinion on this." And was surprised how much it moved me in the way that. For me, it felt like an art house Japanese film, and one of the things that hadn't been put into the original criticisms were that Suda51 was trying to take the element of James Bond, the core element, which was basically shags around and is a bit of an arsehole, boil it down to its lowest common denominator and build it back up as a sort of noir Japanese thriller.
But it wasn't that. It was
I
rubbish.
think it was. No, I think it was. Love the combat.
should we move on?
Yeah.
Let's move on.
So then there was a game called Abzu,
which is underwater swimming. My other half, Laura, is looking very interested by this one.
Yeah.
Underwater sea exploring. Yeah.
Is it going to be a bit like Endless Ocean on the Wii?
Yeah,
maybe
like that, but with a more distinct art direction, I think. It's ex-Journey devs. I know UCJ were not a big fan of Journey. I, on the other hand, I'm a huge fan of Journey. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited by this game. The only problem is that there are sharks in that game. And I don't know if your audience knows this, but the Cane and Rinse audience does know this. I have a major phobia of sharks. Uh-huh. So that sequence, I'm just going to have to get someone else to play it for me because I just cannot deal with sharks whatsoever.
So did you play Assassin's Creed 4?
Yeah, and harpooning the sharks was kind of nerve-wracking for me, but I played the first underwater the optional underwater section,
yeah.
And then I decided I'm never doing those underwater sections ever again.
Oh my God. As a person who doesn't mind a shark, I found those tense, so I can only imagine what it must have been like.
Yeah, but everybody's got these little things in their locker. Like, I have a fear of giants. Josh has got sharks. No, I've got a better one than that. There's Paddy. You remember when you came up to visit me and we met a guy called Simon that I hadn't seen for ages.
Yes.
And Simon has a fear of stilts.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was a point in when he was playing, I think it was Resident Evil 0, where people start cracking and growing upwards, and their bones sort of stretch out of the flesh of their limbs, and they just start extending. And it was the most terrifying thing that he's ever seen in a game. It was like his worst nightmare had just suddenly become 10 times worse. So everybody's got one. Everybody's got these in their locker, I think.
Yeah.
It's just when games bring them to the fore, and you're like, fancy reality.
You know, Tomb Raider Underworld, there's this level where it's just completely open ocean, and you have to go into this coral area, and there are sharks everywhere. And it's like it's not like a level like the Assassin's Creed 4 stuff is. It is a massive open ocean. It is by far the most terrified I have ever been in a video game, and that includes all the survival horror games I've played. Like, sharks affect me that much. It's really weird. But
were the people in the room at this point, or was this just
no,
you in silence?
Me just shivering in fear. Like, you can tell the difference between like genuine fear and like, you know, boo, oh, horror movie kind of fear, because when I'm playing Dead Space or something like that, I go, whoa, ooh, that was a bit creepy. Whereas with sharks, I am just silent and like staring at the screen, and I can't, like, it's one of those things where when you're genuinely scared of something, you don't want to look at them, but your eyes lock onto them because like your survival instincts kick in.
Yeah. If I look away, it's going to get me.
If I look away, it's going to kill me.
Now, you see, if you ever try something like Morpheus or Oculus Rift, please tell me that you're just going to ask first, is there any sharks in the thing that you're going to show me?
I've already, there's a game for Morpheus which is literally just you in a shark cage going down, and these great white sharks start attacking the cage and ripping up the cage, and I was like, not in a million years is anyone going to get me to wear a Morpheus helmet and play that game.
Because, you know, like, I'm sure they're not exactly sharks, but you remember in the original Half-Life where you climb up a massive ladder above a pool and you get into a cage, and the cage suddenly plunges underwater, and then there's these kind of shark-like creatures that are just going against it and smashing against the other side of the cage. I went like, whoa, when the cage unhinged, and then when it hit the water, I was like, whoa, and then those started smashing in, and I jumped out of my seat, and then across the other side of the room, a landline phone rang, and my brain could not switch off from looking at the TV, which was already, you know, the computer monitor, which was already freaking me out, and suddenly a noise in the same room which had startled me. Yeah. I was a man torn in twine, gentlemen.
Oh, you see, I was scared by a sequence before that. Like, that sequence, like, just killed me. But there was a sequence before that where it's just one of those underwater creatures. And, like, you can actually get out of the water. So the moment I saw, like, the slightest, like, you know, because it's quite... I played this... Sorry, let me start again. I played Half-Life for the first time in the Black Mesa mod. Okay. So, like, they had these, like, foggy water effects and stuff. So, like, these creatures were able to hide in the foggy water. So, I saw it for a glimpse, and I was like, right, I'm getting out of the water, just go up the ladder. And then I point my machine gun at the water, and I refuse to move until this thing surfaces, and I unload my ammo into it, and then I'll go back in the water, because there's no way I'm going in the water with that thing in there. Oh, Jesus.
You see, with me saying about a fear of giants as well, often that can be very large things in very small spaces. And there's some rather legendary footage of, I think it's Condemned 2, where there's a bear that's smashing through like a cabin and running in the spaces between walls and running out, and the guy is going absolutely mental. He's absolutely screaming his head off. I mean, the original Condemned is a game that I can't play in anything other than broad daylight, and the footage that I saw genuinely terrified me. Confession.
Yeah. So that was Abzu.
This second one is this second podcast is going to be made legendary by the level of therapy and the way that we tangent.
Oh, the Humanities. Analyse this.
So we then went on to, let me see, sharing Twitch customization. Oh no, sorry, No Man's Sky.
Yeah, boy.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
God, put that in me.
Before the PlayStation conference, I think it was on IGN. One of the guys there said they received an email from the head of, is it Hello Games?
Yeah, Hello Games.
And basically said, we'll be seeing you really soon. And he was like, I don't think they're going to be at the Nintendo conference, so is No Man's Sky going to be on PS4? And that footage just looks wonderful. I love the art direction. it kind of pulls me towards things like books that I grew up with, like Chris Voss, and it just looks like something that I can genuinely lose myself in.
It's the first game that I've seen that feels genuinely like, I kind of hate this phrase, but it feels appropriate, like next-gen-y.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like it's doing something different with this new hardware. Whereas, like, a lot of stuff we've seen, whether it's good or bad, like, it looks like stuff we've played before, just prettier.
Yep.
Whereas this feels like, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before. Like, a constantly, like, a universe that just procedurally generates itself, all this wildlife and all these new planets, and the fact that there's no load times between flying in space and just going to the surface of a planet. It's all just it's just all in one go. Like, it doesn't need any load times or what have you. Like, it's amazing, and I don't know how it's possible. Like, and part of me struggles to believe they're actually going to, the finished product is actually going to be what they're selling. Like, because it just seems like they're gunning for the stars, if you will. Like they're just, like, what they're doing is so ambitious and so big that it's actually kind of hard to believe that they'll actually manage it.
Well, the thing, like when you see Sean Murray and he's speaking about it, he just looks so impassioned about it.
Yeah.
And it was like he looked a little bit wobbly, didn't he?
Yeah. I think he was taken aback by, like, the audience's reaction for the game, because like, I think No Man's Sky seems to be the game from this E3 that's universally considered, like, one of the best games of the show.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
Like, and like, this is an indie developer. Hello Games before this made Joe Danger.
Yeah.
So for them to go from that to, like, one of the most technically impressive games on the show, being shown there.
Yeah.
It's
and there's
crazy.
only 12 of them in the studio, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, that's crazy.
How have they managed it?
And they're making the game that we all dreamed would exist.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, this is the game we all wished would, existed when we were children. Like,
exactly. I want to go. I want to look over there, and I'm going to go in that cave, and I'm going to look at this thing, and I'm going to get my ship, and I'm going to fly over there, and I'm going to go over there, and
space dinosaurs. There are space dinosaurs.
Yeah.
There's your box quote.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is as well. I mean, they've shown off some space battles and stuff, but I get the feeling that you could, if you just wanted to be essentially David Attenborough in a Viper, you could just fly to different places and just check out the scenery and the animals. And
they said as much in interviews after the conference. Like, there is combat, and if you want to engage with that stuff, you can go all in and battle cruisers and what have you. But if you want to be a pacifist, if you want to just, like, mine and explore and what have you, you can totally play that way. Like, the combat is completely optional. So
back in January, they did Sean Murray did an interview with Anthony Carboni on Rev 3. And Anthony Carboni asked him some really seriously brilliant questions. And Sean Murray didn't seem fazed by them at all. And he was talking about each planet has its own rules and physics, and if there might be a planet that's made of water that's got such and such in, and only certain creatures can grow in that, and only certain life can grow in it, and that all of that's balanced in there. And there hadn't been a peep of anything like that about it. And it's almost like when this question came out, you just saw Sean Murray grin, and it was like, I'm going to nerd about my game like a scientist.
He's asked the good question. Oh, I've got an answer ready. It's good. I mean, the stuff like that is great. I mean, that's what I like about Starbound. The different planets have different things that go on them. They've got different gravities and there's different climates and stuff. I played a little bit of Starbound and kind of got a bit bored of it quite quickly. I don't think that's going to happen with No Man's Sky. The fact that it all seems combined as well. Like, you're all in one world, right?
No. It's server based, so it's not one big world where everyone shares it. But there'll be, like, instances of the worlds for different people.
Because you see, I was the kid that on my Amiga used Blue Tack to put a massive map of the universe that came free in the box of Elite Frontier, and just absolutely lost myself into that kind of a space combat game, and I haven't had that experience since. And it just looks like I can't believe the art direction. It's just that I hate photorealism in games, and to see just something that looks beyond reality, and yet somewhere that I could genuinely just walk through my TV and walk on those shores and walk up to amazing looking sort of leaves and see the dinosaurs and the creature and fly to a new. It just looks magnificent. I want that so much. Right, so we then went into more news. We've got share and Twitch customization incoming for the PS4 plus YouTube, direct upload from the console. Lots of free to play games on the cards. And then they went into a bit about independent developers and incoming.
Is this the Devolver bit?
Devolver, wasn't it? Yeah. Hotline Miami 2, Broforce, Titan Souls, I think it was.
These are all things I like, and these are all things I want, particularly Broforce.
You were an early adopter of.
Oh god, I played that prototype, and I sat there laughing at my damn screen for the entire game.
It's called the prototype. That's amazing.
It's called the prototype. Yeah. I sat there and I just laughed my damn head off at my screen for the entire couple of nights that I sat there playing it. I've been thinking, right, I really want it. I don't really want to buy it on PC because I know I won't really play it there. Give me a console version, and they are giving me that console version. Oh, I'm so happy I've got a flex. Broforce.
So they then dropped the bombshell of PlayStation Now. How do you think that's going to work? Do you think maybe they'll offer another tier on top of PlayStation Plus, or there'll be a Netflix type subscription for it? Or
I think it's going to be an extra blob you can get on top of the PlayStation Plus, I reckon. Yeah. I think in the way that their Music Unlimited isn't quite plugged into it, but you get it a bit cheaper if you are.
Yeah, I think it's in their best interests to make it a part of PlayStation Plus. Everything is going for the subscription model now. Yeah. Like Netflix and all that. So I think it makes sense to just for so there's no confusion amongst consumers, to make all of that stuff under one subscription package. So I think it's a good idea. Just whether the execution is up to snuff, because we've seen ideas like this before and it hasn't been executed particularly well. So we'll see.
Just hope it bloody works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sony then went into a very, very small bit of Vita talk, and this is a real bone of contention for me, because they mentioned lots of games are incoming, and then Borderlands 2, Minecraft, etc. And they failed to mention any of the really fucking cool games that are coming out. Yeah. Soul Sacrifice Delta is a really big twist on the original game. It's faster, the graphics are better, there's a storyline in there, all your upgrades are made more obvious. It's a real 1.8 version, and I know somebody in particular who is absolutely plugging away at trying to tell people how different this is from the original. And Sony just aren't promoting it. They've got God's Eater Burst coming out, Tauken and Extreme, Freedom Wars, which admittedly got a little bit of press afterwards, a game called Orishika Tainted Bloodlines, which is a Japanese RPG, which the Japanese name translates into Go Forth Over My Dead Body, which is the greatest name for a game ever. Don't translate that any further than it is. And they've got Sword Art Online Hollow Fragment, which also looks good. All of these are really great games that are only coming out in the Vita, and they look belting. And none of them were mentioned.
Well, that's because all of the games you've mentioned, I think, are TGS bound. I think all of that stuff is going to be mentioned at TGS. And I do have a feeling that Gamescom is probably going to have a greater focus on the Vita than the E3 conference was. It just seemed like Sony were trying to secure their lead with the PS4. The PS4 is by far their strongest selling product at the moment. Not just for the PlayStation brand, but Sony in general. I think the PlayStation 4 has been the most successful thing they've had in a while. So I think this E3 was about them going, look, we just want to make sure this continues to be the case going forwards. Whereas I do think Gamescom is probably where they're going to go, okay, now we remembered the Vita.
Last year's Gamescom was quite a Vita show, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if that's the case. I might be wrong. They might just go, all in PlayStation 4 for the rest of this year. But I don't think they'll forget the Vita come Gamescom.
But like at TGS, they're going to show The Last Guardian at TGS, right?
Well,
right, please. Let's really hope that it's going to come out, because it always pays off.
As a degree of contrast, Nintendo seemed very, very proud of the 3DS, and at a point that where they'd set aside an hour and a half to reveal a new game, and that new game was a 3DS sort of strategy game by the people that did Fire Emblem. That to me was a nice bit of balance, and not forgetting the others. They were, even you could even say Nintendo, you wouldn't have blamed them if they were going for a more 3DS heavy focus, given that it's their best selling machine, but that wasn't the case. So I don't know. But adding to Vita woes, or good ideas, depending. Vita TV is coming out in the West, and it's now PlayStation TV. Interesting move, decent price point.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, I think this is probably the point where the conference died a bit for me. Like, the next half an hour, pretty. The guy that had come on, the new executive, sort of slightly chunky fellow with a nice suit. I can't remember what his name was. The Vita 2 looked all right, but I just found myself thinking, well, how am I going to do that bit in there, or how am I going to do that bit in that game? I don't know. I like my Vita. I don't see myself playing those games on the TV. If I do that, a lot of them are cross-buy anyway, and I've got a PS3 and a PS4. It's a nice price point. £100 all in. If it's got the PlayStation Now plugged into it as well, more the better. It's a cool machine. It's just probably not for me.
I think I'm going to get one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get one as well.
Yeah, I like the idea of. I think it's a good idea calling it PlayStation TV. Separates it a little bit from the Vita, but for me, all of those games that I was talking about, like even prior to this, like Yeast, Memories of Calcetta is one of my favourite games this year. I'm really getting into Tauken, hopefully picking up Soul Sacrifice Delta soon. Those are the games that I mentioned. These are all games I quite happily play on my telly. And even when I've seen them upscaled on YouTube and on Twitch and stuff, still look pretty as anything. So yeah, that to me, being able to put my games onto a separate memory card, or take my memory card out of my Vita and pop it in Vita TV, I'd be up for that.
It's a cool idea. But I don't know. I just find myself, I think it's a cool idea, but then the games that I get that are cross-buy, I almost exclusively play on the Vita. Like your Guacamelee, your Hotline Miami, that sort of thing, your Spelunky. Like, I don't think I've even booted Spelunky up on the PS3. I've just played it on the Vita, and it is fucking perfect on the Vita. It's really good. It's a cool machine. I don't think I can justify £100 for myself, but it's a good machine for people who don't necessarily have the entire Sony setup like I do.
Well, they've said, I think the UK price is £85, isn't it?
That's even better.
Yeah, which I think is a really strong price point.
That's 2 games.
Yeah, and I think there's a version with, is it a 4 or 8 gig memory card and a DualShock 3 for, is it about 115?
It's not bad.
Yeah, something like
130, yeah. So I think, I'm quite happy with that. When I saw first footage of it, I thought, I think that's affordable, and it's something that I definitely use. So then we went into Mortal Kombat 3, which I really couldn't give an arse about.
No.
3?
Is it 3? I don't know. Oh, sorry.
I don't know. I'm kind of semi-hyped for it. I mean, I don't really tend to be very good at Mortal Kombat, but I always enjoy sort of playing it for a little while. I'm rubbish, really bad at it. Like, I'm a Tekken man, and I just cannot get the sort of the Tekken. What's the word when you your brain does things for you. Muscle memory, that's it. I can't get out of that mindset, but I really, really like Mortal Kombat. I think it's a cool series, and it knows it's ridiculous, and it just plays up to it now. With the increasingly ridiculous fatalities and sort of the big sort of meaty, chunky sort of combat. The fact in that very first trailer they brought out where you've got Sub-Zero's fighting Scorpion and Sub-Zero being a man who can conjure ice with his mind, instead chooses to rip a branch off a tree and hit Scorpion with it. Good job. Good job, Sub-Zero. Just never play an ace when a 2 will do.
Well played, sir.
Yeah, it was all right. It's pretty good. I enjoyed the trailer. I thought the new characters looked kind of interesting, like the one that's a little person sitting on top of a big person. Yeah.
I think my issue is that Mortal Kombat kind of relies on spectacle rather than really good technical, fighting mechanics.
Yeah, the special moves rely on kind of labyrinthine combinations of, down, backwards, and triangle. Why does that do a fireball?
Well, it's more that, I don't know. I think it just relies on violence more than good gameplay. To be quite frank, even stuff like Tekken, I think, is more technical than Mortal Kombat. I'm not the biggest fighting game fan in the world. I think I'm just a bit tired of Mortal Kombat's kind of adolescent tone. I'm not excited for that.
Although you say that, apparently they're toning down on the big bloody bazongas. There was an interview that came out with Ed Boon shortly after. I can't remember where I read it, but I think it's set like 15 years in the future of the last.
Right.
And they've got, I think, Johnny Cage's and Sonya Blade's kid, Cassie Cage, I think her name is.
Right.
Full, all over bodysuit, apparently, like proper, armoured tactical suit. They're not playing up the sex aspect at all for once.
Okay.
Which is astonishing from the Mortal Kombat guys, because they usually go all out for that.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'd be interested to see how it plays out. But, every now and again, I suppose you like a nice sort of, bit of dumb spectacle every now and again.
I think I prefer Platinum's style of dumb spectacle than Warner Brothers, unfortunately.
So
there's a lot of room in my heart for dumb spectacle. I'll give it that.
So if there was any lessons that we learned from last year's E3, it was don't talk about telly.
Yeah, here we go.
And then I haven't seen Brian Michael Bendis for a long, long time, and let's just say he looks a very successful man at this point.
Lovely suit.
I do like Powers. I've got a lot of time for it, but an E3 show. This is the point where I look at the non-Vita section and I look at this and I go, "This doesn't need to be in the show."
Yeah, this is something for Comic-Con. This is not an E3.
They didn't even show any of it. It was like, we're making Powers. This is what it's about. 5-minute explanation about what it's about. Didn't need that. We're casting it now. What? You're casting it? Don't tell us about it. Give us a clip.
Yeah,
Don't just tell us it might be good. We know it might be good.
They were targeting that at totally the wrong audience as well. I bet half. I know what Powers is, and I think it's a good series. But I bet half the E3 audience had no idea what Powers was and why this is kind of like a cool project. It felt out of place, and I agree with CJ. The time spent on this could have been spent on Vita.
Absolutely,
If they'd have gone from a massive Vita section, or even just shown little bits of the really, really cool stuff that was going, then you led into PlayStation TV, then you launched into momentum for the Ratchet and Clank movie and the incoming remaster. I think you've got a smooth arc there that's carried on, and I think Paddy sort of mentioned that the show had died momentum-wise at this point.
It fell on its arse. Even like you say, the inclusion of the Ratchet and Clank bit. I was already kind of depressed at that point, and it couldn't excite me. And you know what I'm like.
Yeah,
I miss the Ratchet. I've got a cuddly Ratchet and a Clank sitting on top of my monitor, staring at me right now, and they seem disappointed in me. But I like the idea of their remastering the first game to be more like the film they're making. Okay, I'll take that. But they did not need to spend this much time on fucking TV.
I don't know how excited I am by a remastered original Ratchet and Clank, because I think there are better games in that series than the first game.
Ooh,
like
contentious.
I don't know. I don't think it really. I think Crack and Time is like by far the best game in the series, and I'd much rather see like a PS4 version of Crack and Time.
Yeah, but I think this is a good chance to fix the problems that people had with the first one, like like Ratchet's personality, and the fact that you couldn't strafe properly for ages until like halfway, 2/3 way through the game, and even then it was kind of rubbish. But I played Ratchet and Clank 1 again a couple of months ago because I got the trilogy for Christmas, which I've been waiting on for ages, and I've just popped it in the PS3 again because, you know, it was like home. I played the shit out of that first game, really did, and it feels more like home than any of the others do, because you turn up to a new planet and go, oh cool, we're at the Blard place, yeah. It was nice. I'm looking forward to a reimagining of it. It's one of those games that it's one of my personal, you know, top 5 series of all time. It's big, it's dumb, it's stupid, but I love it, and I look forward to seeing what they do with it.
I don't think it is stupid. I think Ratchet and Clank is actually a really well-written series. Like,
well written. I mean, in terms of the dumb guns and stuff you get. Like, it's big, silly fun. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I will make a confession and say that I've never played a Ratchet and Clank game.
Play Crack in Time.
Or number 3.
Yeah, I think Crack in Time is like...
Anything with Dr. Nefarious in it, basically.
Yeah, Dr. Nefarious is the best villain. Crack in Time is kind of like a greatest hits compilation of Ratchet and Clank for me. Yeah. Plus it has rocket boots, and who doesn't like rocket boots? So, yeah.
And puzzle sections that actually make you feel clever when you beat them. Oh,
God. Yeah, like the time manipulation puzzles of Clank. Yeah, they're like not quite Portal level awesome, but close.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That make you feel smart when you beat them. Like, fucking yes, I'm good at puzzles.
Yeah.
So we then went into Last of Us PS4. Sparkly, prettier, faster, more. Includes all the DLC.
Yeah.
But yet again, I think that because the momentum of the show had dropped at this point, there wasn't the level of... I mean, you're essentially ending on big guns of Last of Us, GTA 5, Arkham City, Uncharted. And yet, there was size in the room at this point. Like, really? You're carrying on? And I don't think they got the reaction that they could have done.
I think Sony's problem is they've got, like, so many branches that they're kind of pushing at the minute. They've got the PS4, they've got the PlayStation Now, they've got... admittedly the Vita, even though they didn't really bother with it. Like, they're pushing a lot of branches, and like, even with a 2-hour show, it felt like they were squeezing a lot in, and there was a lot I felt that they ignored. Like, where was Deep Down, for Christ's sake?
Well, Deep Down's a Capcom joint, isn't it? So Sony are under no obligation to continue supporting that game.
But isn't that a PS4 exclusive, though? You think they'd be shouting to the rafters? Yeah, they'd be like, we've got this. Look at it.
Is it a PS4 exclusive?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, then.
Yeah, it seemed it was conspicuous in its absence.
I think that was under the banner of all the free-to-play games that are coming. But
do you think they neglected to mention it because Bloodborne was in the conference and they're kind of similar-ish?
Idea. Yeah. Well, in the same way that we were talking earlier that the Order suffered alongside Bloodborne. I agree. I think it would have done. But what do you think of Last of Us PS4? I know Patrick's a big fan of the game, but is it something that if you upgraded that that you pick up again?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's kind of like, you know, Shadow of the Colossus HD. Like I want a better version of that game. That sounds great to me. I kind of see these re-releases as kind of like, you know, the same way like Back to the Future on Blu-ray, like the remastered. But it's kind of just, you know, getting your favorite games just slightly tweaked so they look a bit better. Yeah, and I really loved The Last of Us. It was my game of the year last year. So yeah, I'll absolutely get the PS4 version of this game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the fact that I got a review copy of The Last of Us as well, I kind of feel bad that I didn't buy it, so I kind of feel obligated to. Like,
there is that point, but
I have to give them money for this. It was that good.
And I think the fact that it includes all the DLC in one package is really good, because it means like, oh, well, I won't bother buying the DLC on PS3. I'll just wait for this version.
Exactly.
I like seeing that as a precedent set with the with next gen. It seems to be a pretty classy move across the board. So yeah, we then went into a little bit about GTA 5. You could import PS3 and 360, say I presume just the online side of things, into PS4.
Smart move, though, I think.
Yeah,
definitely.
Because people have been playing a lot of GTA 5 online, so the prospect of starting over is kind of horrible. So for them to include just like, you can just transfer it over and continue playing, but it looks better now. That's clever. I really like that idea, and I hope other games, if this continues to be a trend, other games that are being remastered do this as well.
Because it took a lot of people by surprise when it was mentioned, didn't they?
Yeah, it was muted. It was like muted. It was mooted. Pick the right word there. It was mooted for like ages and kind of like hinted at on Twitter, like people going, "Oh, imagine if they put GTA 5 on the next gen," and a lot of people like, "Nah, they won't bother. It's too big. They can't be. Nah, they wouldn't do that." And they have. Okay then. And as a man who is Saints Row to his very core, if you cut me, I bleed purple. I've seen some videos of the GTA 5 online stuff, and it kind of looks like it's actually probably pretty silly fun. So, go on then. We're starved for games on the next gen at the minute, so go on then.
The only thing I'm really annoyed about is that I kept waiting and thinking, they'll eventually release a PC version. Yeah, I'm sure they will. And then I gave up hope, and I bought like a copy of GTA 5 on PS3 for £10 pre-owned. It was like, they're never going to release. And then like E3 starts, and they announce, GTA 5 on PC. And I'm like, for God's sake. Right, so
almost as if at Rockstar, like, has Josh bought it yet? No, hold off on that announcement.
So I haven't even started GTA 5, so I might as well just sell it again.
Just trade it in now.
Yeah.
So then we had Arkham City. It was the first real proper look at it, at the in-game stuff. Thought it looked pretty honestly, I'm very, very bored of Armored Batman at this point, but looks like a good city. Not quite sure if the Batmobile section's quite like the tanky bits.
Why is it a tank? Why is Batman blowing people up?
I don't know.
Why is he the Batmobile literally has guns in it, and that he's using it to shoot things and make them explode. No, he's killing people.
No, he wasn't. I saw.
How?
Because I made the comment on Twitter at the time. I was like, Batman using guns, are you high? But when you watch the footage back again, it's like a little EMP thing, and the cars kind of spark and stop.
Do they?
Yeah,
I watched it again, and they looked pretty explodey to me.
No, because their explosions are a little bit purple.
Oh, that means electrical explosion, doesn't it?
It does. They're bleeding purple.
Right.
But yeah, so what do we think of next gen Batman?
I don't know. I'm one of those people who vastly prefers Arkham Asylum to Arkham City.
Yep, you and me
because I think it benefited from that focused design. And I think Arkham Asylum had a lot of personality as a location. Mm-hmm. And it also made sense that there were all those villains in one location. Whereas Arkham City kind of felt like this weird kind of like, let's kind of make up an excuse for all these villains being in one location. And I fear they're going further in a direction that I'm not interested in. Like, I'm not interested in the big open world Batman game. I was interested in the Metroid Prime-esque vision that was Arkham Asylum. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll be really great, and I'll, shut up when it comes out. But I just fear that they're not focusing on what made the first game strong.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I played it shortly after playing BioShock. Like, I played Arkham Asylum very shortly after BioShock, and I got the same vibes off it. Like, Arkham, it felt like a place. It had personality, it evolved as you went through it. It felt like a real place. And City, I mean, I enjoyed dicking around in City. I really liked it.
Oh, it's a good game.
Yeah. It's a good game. Origins lost it quite a bit, I thought.
I disagree about Origins.
Yeah, me and Kane Rince's very own James Carter, we've bickered about this many times on Twitter.
I haven't played Origins, so I've yet to form an opinion.
I think there's, I mean, in the same way as I mentioned that big things in small places, I find really, really claustrophobic in games, and Batman can hide in Gotham in the open world. There's loads of places that he can be Batman, but there was something about caging the Bat and putting it in that claustrophobic location, and him being this huge walking target. I think it made that all the more interesting, and it seemed really focused on the direction that it was taking you through the game, and yet didn't seem limiting at all. It still felt like you were doing tons. So, but it does look really pretty. But I don't know, in the same way as regarding sort of Asylum, the thing was where sort of City and Origins was sort of, you need to go to here, and essentially you're having 5 minutes going across the city to start the next level. So I'd quite just like to start the next level.
Origins was the worst one for that by a goddamn mile. Laura, my half played it. She pretty much finished it. And there's a bridge in it, I think, that kind of connects the two halves of the map. And I know she would be playing it because I'd hear these kind of from across the room, and I think, you on the bridge again? Yes.
You see, I found the art design of the city in Origins, the contrast of the neon against the snow and the impending sort of tornado that had people evacuate Gotham. That kind of captured me a bit more.
Yeah, it had interesting moments, but I think the overall game, it didn't have it. Like a couple of the bit, like the Joker bit, was fucking brilliant, but that was about it for me. Didn't do much for me.
I am really glad to hear that Kevin Conroy is back playing Batman in this game. Just hearing his voice again was very comforting. I mean, I haven't really played Origins, so I don't know how well that guy did in that game.
I thought he did a really good job, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
so the real question is, in Arkham Knight then, how is this going to be the Joker's fault?
Well, I really hope that the Joker's not in it. Like, the Joker's a great character, but come on, let's stop leaning on him every time we want a great antagonist. Batman is, there are a lot of superheroes with bad rogues galleries. Batman is not one of them. He has a great rogues gallery. Use it, please. Stop relying on the same villain over and over again. I would love it if Scarecrow was actually the main antagonist, because at the end of that footage, like, Scarecrow took over and started talking. Like, Scarecrow's a great villain in the right hands. So I'd like to see him be the main antagonist, but I bet the Joker will show up eventually.
Did anyone else think that their stream or the on-stage presentation was dying a bit at the end of that as well? Like,
there was some frame rate.
We're going to have something's going to break. Oh, it's going to glitch out. Oh, wait, no, it's supposed to glitch out, damn it. Oh, I was really hoping for the E3 glitch moment, but we didn't get one.
There were a couple of frame rate issues at the beginning of it as well, though. But I always think that's healthy, because if a developer is still willing to show off their game, if it has a few problems like that, it means they're really happy with what they're making. So that they don't like the Giant Bomb crew were talking about it. Whenever demos are a little bit shaky, it's because the developers are like, it doesn't matter. This game is so awesome.
They'll understand.
They'll understand, yeah. So I think that's kind of all right. And yeah, I like the Scarecrow stuff towards the end, where it looked like it was going to glitch out. That was clever.
That's exclusive to PS4, isn't it, as well?
The Scarecrow content?
There's exclusive Scarecrow PS4 missions.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I don't like that.
They've always had that, though, haven't they?
They've always had something special on PS.
You could play as the Joker in the multiplayer stuff on Asylum. Yeah. I'm not sure what they had on City. In Origins, they had... You play as John Paul Valley.
Was it Deathstroke, wasn't it? Was the bonus character in...
Oh, that might have been Arkham City then.
City had like Robin and stuff, didn't it?
No, it was Jean Paul Valley. Yeah, that was Origins.
Catwoman!
Actually.
Was Arkham City?
That wasn't exclusive, though.
Wasn't it?
No, that was just regular kind
Oh,
of.
ignore me then. I'm talking out my ass.
It was a code in the game that you could play the Catwoman missions, but once you'd entered the code and say somebody else picked it up second hand, they'd have to buy that to plug it back into the game. Which
Project
was very,
$10.
very janky. Yeah. But having Nightfall Batman essentially in the PS3 version of Origins, I think was a bit tempting.
Didn't you have to beat the game 100% to be able to use it? And at that point, what is the point?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So we then ended with a little film about Uncharted 4, which did absolutely 10 shades of nothing for me.
Disagree.
I really love Uncharted 2 in particular. Uncharted 3 was a bit of a disappointment for me. I still think it's a good game, but I just don't think it hit the highs 2 did. And hearing that Amy Hennig has left the project and a bunch of other people have left the Uncharted 4 project, I'm really worried about Uncharted 4. Like, I don't know what it's going to be.
But isn't it Druckmann that's in charge of Uncharted 4 now?
I think so, yeah.
Well, yeah, and he's the Last of Us guy, so it might end up being great. But to me, Amy Hennig is that series. Like, her dialogue is what makes Uncharted Uncharted. Like, it's her Joss Whedon-esque banter that made me fall in love with that series to begin with. So I don't know. And Neil Druckmann's a great writer. I just don't think he's that kind of writer, if that makes any sense.
I think it probably plays in that they're going for an older Nathan Drake and something a little bit darker, which means that because we're going on a little point in time and maybe he's older, he's maybe a little more, I don't know, just lost that spark that maybe Druckmann can put his own voice on, and that's his Nathan Drake.
An older, more tired Drake, perhaps.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the trailer, the little snippet did quite a bit for me. I mean, I'm a big Uncharted fan. I even liked 3. I liked 1. I liked all of them. I
loved 1.
Thought they were great. Yeah, I even liked 3. The bit in the desert in 3, fantastic.
Oh, the bit in the desert in 3 is one of the highlights of the game.
Absolutely,
I don't think
yeah.
anyone disagrees with that. My problem is that there's this entire section on a ship that makes no sense narratively and is just there to show off how crazy their water tech is.
Yeah, but wasn't that water tech crazy, though?
It was pretty crazy, but narratively it made no sense.
Yeah.
And there better be lots of Elena Fisher in Uncharted 4, because there was a deficit of Elena Fisher in Uncharted 3. Like, she needs to be number 2, not Sully. I like Sully, but Elena Fisher is the best character in those games.
Yeah, I fairly think Sully's not making out of that game alive, is he?
Well, if they're gonna kill him, it's gonna be this game. What's the
tagline or something?
Yeah, Sully's dead.
Yeah, he's so dead.
Yeah.
Thing is, I thought Uncharted 3 ended quite nicely. I thought that'd be a really nice place to stop. Like, that's it. Stop. Brilliant. Perfect. Finished. Done.
I thought they were going to do that as well, but it looks like that's not the case.
They pulled a God of War. Like, okay, there's the perfect end, but now we're going to do another one. Like, why? No one cares. But I know, I'm definitely going to buy it. I'm definitely going to play it because I am a whore. So
no, people do care though. That's the reason that they're bringing it back, because it's so popular and people are genuinely invested in these characters and they enjoyed these big Indiana Jones type adventures and the one-liners. And oh, shush!
That's not his name. How do you say how do you say the name of the man who has the whip?
Me? Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Scone.
Oh.
Right, so we then went to the Nintendo conference, which was a digital event. Robot Chicken opening.
Brilliant.
Very, very funny. Thought they took the piss out of themselves wonderfully. In the same way as there was a little video that leaked before E3 with Mech, where some guys had sort of broken into Nintendo but had managed to create like a Terminator-like robot that looked like Reggie Fils-Aimé. Very, very funny video.
I like that the Nintendo conference totally made me feel bad about my joke on Twitter as soon as it started. I was like, I wonder if I'm going to see some Mario tonight. And then they immediately had that kind of journalist at the front going, oh, you're going to show some Mario, are you? And then I kind of felt bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was a really good opening, and you know, getting people laughing that early and addressing a lot of the questions that are often thrown at Nintendo off the bat, I thought was a really good dodge. And then obviously Reggie and Mr. Iwata had a fight.
God, that was the best thing.
I had to say on Twitter, what the hell is going on? Because, like, I mean, they really took advantage of the fact that it wasn't a live event. Like, and props to Nintendo having all these like cool videos where their execs are having a Matrix-style fight with each other.
Yeah,
fine. To be honest with you, that warms me to your executives than anything that Sony and Microsoft did. And I think they, with the Robot Chicken thing and this Matrix-style fight, they established the tone for the entire event, and the tone was fun.
Yes.
Like, that's what Nintendo were all about this E3. Fun.
Yeah.
And it was really good to see.
I think Reggie's body has never looked as ready, has it?
Somebody asked Reggie about afterwards about did it bother you that you lost to Iwata in that fight? And he was like, well, he is actually better at Smash Brothers than me, so that's how we decided he'd win. It's like, yeah, that's cool. But, so yeah, it then sieged into Reggie and Iwata actually fighting on Smash Brothers. They revealed that you could play as your Mii, and there were a number of different variations on doing that. They showed off the Wii-U version and the 3DS version side by side, both running 60 frames per second.
Yeah. Did anyone else have the immediate thought that I did when they said that Mii's were going to be in it?
Which was?
Hitler has joined the battle!
I think that joke has been, like,
I know it's obvious.
all over Twitter.
But immediately your head goes, oh God, no.
Yeah. But, yeah, I like the idea of having Mii's in the Super Smash Bros. Universe, even if they called it Swordmaster, Brawler, and Gunslinger, or something like that. I probably got those names wrong. Yeah. But it was really Link type, Mario type, Samus type.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
But I like having my Mii available to race in Mario Kart. I think it's a really fun, personal little twist to add to it, and when we're all having online races, it's fun to see all the Mii's at the start of a race and just go, oh, that's Darren, that's Josh, and that's Leon, because bizarrely enough they all do look stunningly like the people that they are.
Well, now that Nintendo have the, taking a photograph of your face and then using that to sculpt your Mii, like, they're getting scarily accurate.
They are really accurate.
Like, I compared my Wii Mii to my Wii U Mii, and I was like, what the hell? Because, like, my Wii Mii is like my fantasy version of myself. Like the person I wish I was.
Chiseled jaw, long flowing locks.
Whereas the Wii U one is like, oh, that's me. Like the Leon one is scary. That's him.
Leon's is brilliant, and I also like the fact that in Mario Kart, his car is the same colour as his Mii's sort of T-shirt, which means that when I'm catching up with him, which inevitably I always am because he's staggeringly good at that game, it just means I can see him from a distance and maybe save a red shell for him. Yeah. So that we then went into Amiibo. So like Skylanders, seem to be holding DLC or special abilities, and retain your choices. Can be brought into Smash to take your place if you're knackered. Apparently we'll do stuff in Mario Kart, etc. Kind of curious as to the specifics of how they'll work, but seeing them all on a shelf just made me want to have them all on a shelf. So they're really well sculpted.
They were lovely toys, lovely figures, the sort of thing you'd want to have and put on your shelf. But I find the whole Skylanders thing, I find the entire venture detestable. The whole thing. I've hated Skylanders since the beginning, and I've hated the Disney version as well. Oh God, they're going to be so expensive, and I don't understand why we need them. I don't know what they're for. Like, they explained it, and I listened, and I was like, can't you maybe just select the character on the menu? Is that not slightly easier? I don't know. Maybe I missed the point, but I was just sitting there watching it, just baffled.
Yeah, I don't quite get what's going on. But then again, I don't really blame Nintendo for doing what they're doing. The Skylanders sells like gangbusters.
Yeah, and so does the Disney Infinity. I mean, that's going the Marvel thing. I was like, oh look, the Avengers are in it. They just sold 1 million of those. Great.
Yeah, and Nintendo are one of the few companies that have like a huge catalog of characters where they can do something like this. So I don't blame them. Like if they can, I mean, they need to make money. So. And as much as the Wii made them, like as much money as they have on reserve, thanks to the Wii, they really need to start generating some cash now. Yeah. And I think this will work for them. Like I bet there are plenty of kids who will want to buy a bunch of Mario figures and stuff
but
like that.
It's when I was a kid, like when I wanted to buy a toy, it was like £1. Like, now you go to Asda and there's just racks and racks of these things, and they're like 15 quid each.
That's called inflation, Paddy.
I don't think it... I mean, looking at the price of Freddo's, like, if you use that as the baseline, like, you'd be talking maybe £3 tops for these figures.
The thing is with Skylanders, I mean, I know a lot of people that adults that really enjoyed the game, but if you bought that package with the Portal of Power or whatever for your kid, and they can take their figure with their data on and take it to the mate's house and plug it into their game, and if parents are out or maybe the kids saved up some pocket money and they can get a figure for about £10, which will allow them to have new stuff in the game, will allow them to be occupied for a little longer. To be honest, I think that's great. I don't see that as infringing on my own choices of game or the adult world. And if somebody's playing games and they're enjoying it and they can get something new out of it, and it can have that degree of personal within holding on to the information, great, go for it.
I mean, can only the person... This is a question from Laura, who was asking about this the other day. I didn't know an answer. Can only the person with the gamepad do the thing with them? Because it's got a little sensor on the gamepad, hasn't it?
Oh, I assume so.
Yeah. Like, would you just scan them in? So, right, player 1's is scanning in now, or are you going to scan in player 2's now? Like, I don't know. Like, maybe it's too early to ask
I'm not entirely sure what they're actually doing with the figures. I don't think it is actually selecting characters, and I don't think it definitely wouldn't make sense for a game like Super Smash Brothers to have the character selection be bound to figurines.
Yeah. So especially when they haven't even announced fucking Captain Falcon yet.
It will happen.
Oh, God, they have to get on that soon, because getting worried.
To be honest, I'd quite like to see that sort of something like the F-Zero cars and characters be available as DLC for Mario Kart. I think it'd be really, really good fun.
Don't tell F-Zero fans that you said that, because they'll kill you.
Yeah, but nothing's been done with that game, and if you could say, well, those characters are going to be available to play in Mario Kart, at least it's something.
Yeah, they're as bad as the Mega Man fans for that thing, though. Just give us a new proper one already. Stop putting him in cameos. So
then we had Yoshi's Woolly World, which looked cute as fuck, and Nintendo emphasised the fact that the trailer clearly needed more wool by setting the developers in a shop full of wool.
It looks great. Yeah, it's the same developers as Kirby's Epic Yarn, and Kirby's Epic Yarn is really, really good. So if it's anything like Kirby's Epic Yarn, then day one it will be really good.
It's got that nice sort of tactile look that like the early Little Big Planet stuff had to it. Like everything looks real.
Yeah, but also it has that Little Big Planet style, but also Kirby's Epic Yarn plays really well as well. So it's kind of like that art style, but you want to play it as well. So that would be good.
I did want to play Little Big Planet though. I liked it. Moving on.
I love some of the stuff where that they showed on Treehouse later, where you could be playing 2-player and one of the Yoshis could eat the other and spit them across the room, and they could kind of hit an enemy and then bounce out and then attack, and it looks like there's a little more to it than was originally shown off, but it looks fun and it looks cute as anything, so look for that. They then went into Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Those levels are amazing in Mario 3D World. I love them to pieces. So I'm interested to see how they vary that over a full game, but yeah, I'm glad they're doing it.
Yeah.
We then went into Zelda.
Wasn't that pretty?
Yeah.
Dear God.
I really liked, because clearly the game is still quite deep into development, so they weren't showing off that much. But like the stuff they were talking about, like their goals for this game, is like yes, 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 I want that. Yeah. Like I love Skyward Sword. In fact, it's probably one of my favorite Zelda games in the series. But I do understand when people say that the formula, they've kind of been leaning on the same Zelda formula for quite a while now. They kind of just add gimmicks to each one. So Skyward Sword's gimmick was the sword combat was really interesting. But the structure is still Zelda. So the way they were describing this one, it's completely different. There's no linear path to where you need to go or the dungeons or what have you. It seems like it's much more of a open world. So that really excites me. Plus, Link looks really different, and I like his bow. So I'm interested to see if they've changed the actual combat in Zelda as well.
I didn't think Link looked like a boy. I thought Link looked like a girl in that trailer.
I was wondering if they were, because they've confirmed since that it is actually Link, but because I was thinking, well, what if in this one you either play as Zelda or you play as the hero, and you know whether you're male or female or whatever you want to think of the hero, it can be you. Although there were some rather heated discussions from a few folks on Twitter that were desperately opposed to the fact that it shouldn't be Zelda or it had to be Link, which I found a wee bit baffling, to be honest.
Yeah, I find that a bit baffling. I mean, you've got so many games where Link is the protagonist and he's not even the guy in the game's title. So,
but isn't sort of every Zelda sort of a new person that steps up to the plate to be the hero anyway? It's so
every Link is a different Link. Every Zelda is a different Zelda. And yeah, they've certainly had, like, it's not out of the question to have Zelda be like an active, member of the plot, because, you know, their interpretation of Zelda in Wind Waker, she was a pirate in that game, and she was a badass in that game. So it's not impossible to imagine a game where she's the protagonist. I don't think that's going to be the case with this game. It looks like Link is definitely the protagonist again. I don't really have a problem with that, but it would be nice to see Zelda as the protagonist at some point.
I kind of got the impression with him saying about the open world, and you know, you could go into one of the later dungeons from the off if you felt brave enough. It reminded me a little bit of kind of Dark Souls when you were at Firelink's Shrine, that if you went down towards the skeletons too early, you might get sort of walloped, and having that kind of world around just sounds really exciting.
I don't know, that open world stuff didn't excite me as much as the visual stuff.
It's very
I don't know,
stylish,
it's just like
wasn't it?
it's like, haven't you played like Skyrim? You can do that there. You can just run around the back of a fort and go in the back. Like, I don't know, it didn't excite me as much. It just sounded like something everything else does. I know it's new in Zelda.
I think the reason why it excited me is because it's Nintendo doing that.
I suppose,
and Nintendo's game design and Nintendo's art design is, no offense to Elder Scrolls, quite a bit better.
I'll give you that. No, I'll give you that.
So just imagining exploring this huge open world Hyrule with that gameplay and that art design really excited me.
Because I was quite shocked when I recently started playing Skyward Sword, just how beautiful that game is.
Oh, yeah.
It's astonishing. And some of the effects that they've done to kind of blur any jaggies out and the sense of distance in there is breathtaking. And when just seeing Ayanuba sort of sitting in front of that picture with the grass just blowing, and you were going, oh my God, is that it? And they just kept you looking, and then you saw Link take off on the horse, and the creature take off after Link, and it was generally one of those fuck me moments. It was just beautiful. And also, you know, in 10 years' time, when we said this in the last podcast, but in 10 years' time, if we're upscaling this to whatever comes in the future, that style will still look amazing in 10 years' time when they do whatever they do to it.
Well, we've seen that with Wind Waker recently.
Yeah.
Wind Waker HD is one of the most beautiful games I have ever seen, and it's all because of the art design. And I was really shocked to find out, like, because people have been downloading Wind Waker HD recently because of Mario Kart 8's deal. Like, that game's like only a few gigabytes. Like, it's not that big a file size, and you're like, wow, a game this beautiful is not that, that it's not that huge file wise. So
did you see how long it took them development wise?
How long did it take them?
6 months.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Apparently they had working versions of loads of different Zeldas, and they settled on Wind Waker and then followed it through, which is just incredible. I
think it's a testament to the original game that
absolutely,
they didn't have to do that much work on it to make it look amazing. So yeah,
and I think Nintendo laid a card down with this one, and made a few people that were watching go, oh ho ho. Yeah. So we then went into Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, which is apparently out November 21st. For those folks that like Pokemon. Any thoughts or comments?
I liked Pokemon X, but it failed to hold my attention long term. I think I've just kind of outgrown Pokemon, to be honest. So, I mean, they're great games if you like them, but
you've done that now.
Yeah, I'm done with them.
So we then leapt into Bayonetta 2.
Yes.
Which looked absolutely jaw-dropping.
It certainly looked like Bayonetta, didn't it?
My mouth was open throughout all of the stuff that they showed. And then they said that it was going to include a remastered Bayonetta, which features the ability to play using Samus, Link, and Peach costumes. There's touch-screen controls and extra stuff sort of hidden in there as well. It's like, what?
And, I want to mention Treehouse now, because I think... the stuff they showed off of both Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta during the Treehouse stream really benefited those games in particular, because they are so mechanics focused, whereas some of the other stuff Nintendo showed benefit from trailers. I think Bayonetta benefits from just having a straight up 15-minute game demo. This looks like Bayonetta 2 looks awesome, right? But this version of Bayonetta, the first one, looks like it's going to be the definitive version of that game as well.
Wow.
So it's going to be great having both those games on one console.
Because they showed on Treehouse 2 separate segments, one on Bayonetta 2 and one on Bayonetta as well, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh God, watching that early footage of the first Bayonetta made me want to, turn on the 360 again and play that game all the way through again. But I think I'm going to wait until this Wii U version comes out, because it sounds really good. It's 60 frames per second, which is exactly what you want for that style of game. You want it to be super quick.
It's co-op as well, isn't it?
Bayonetta 2 is.
Oh, right, okay.
The first Bayonetta is still single player, but Bayonetta 2 has co-op elements, I think.
Because it made me smile on the Treehouse stuff where they showed Bayonetta in the Link costume with the Master Sword, and when she was cutting into the enemies, they burst into rupees.
Yeah.
And they just sort of ching, 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 ching. And then they went into the Samus stuff, and I was like, why is the visor keep going up and down? And it's because someone was making the visor go up and down on the costume, and the gun was making sort of Metroid type noises. That was fun. And then they showed the Princess Peach stuff, and the demon she was conjuring was Bowser. And also the touch screen controls genuinely look like they work.
Which is good to hear, because that was always my biggest concern with it, that Bayonetta with a touchscreen, fuck off. It works.
It looks like you can totally ignore it, and I probably am going to totally ignore it, because because I'm a big 3D brawler fan, and I like my, combo heavy stuff. I want to do all the intricate stuff, so I'm going to stick with the button controls. But the fact that it even works is kind of amazing, and it opens that game up to people who would otherwise not be interested in a hardcore brawler like that. So
they were showing off the attack points on the bosses, and that you could touch those points on the screen with the stylus, and that's where Bayonetta would attack.
Yeah.
Even on when you're walking across regular ground, you could just sort of trace the line where you want to Bayonetta to go, and it just looked like something that they didn't have to put in. And it's not even as if they were just dropping it as a footnote, going, "Oh yeah, you can play it as touchscreen." They were actually showing you that it's completely valid and completely works as a touchscreen game.
Yeah.
But on the Bayonetta 2 stuff, I was watching that and just going, imagination much. It was absolutely bonkers. And the fact that now essentially you're paying, rather than paying like 35 quid for Bayonetta 2, you're actually paying £17.50 for it.
Yeah.
Bayonetta in there as well. It's incredible. So yeah, we then went into Hyrule Warriors.
Boo!
Shush you. I know very little of Zelda or Dynasty Warriors, but it looks amazing. I saw loads of stuff on Treehouse for it afterwards, and in particular the guy was playing as is it Mina from Twilight Princess?
Midna, yeah.
That was it. And there was a certain point where, because he was wandering around and he was saying, right, we've got to go here and this will bring the boss down, and look, Zelda's running in to open a gate now. And there was a certain point where he kind of went, oh, this isn't working out. I played this before as Link. Do you mind if I start again? And just came back as Link and started playing it again. It looks fun. It looks loads of fun. You can play as 4 different characters.
There's going to be more characters announced. That's just the characters that have been announced so far.
Yeah, those games always load the characters. I played the One Piece one. I got that for review, and I played that, and there were, like 50 goddamn characters, and every single one was different. So I don't doubt there's going to be a lot. I really, really do not like the Dynasty Warriors setup. I cannot get enthusiastic about it. It's like, go over there, kill a bunch of guys, go over here, kill a bunch of guys, go over back there, kill a bunch of guys, someone over there needs your help, go over there, kill some more guys, kill some more guys, do it again later. It does absolutely nothing for me.
Yeah, the fact that Aonuma from Zelda has been heavily involved with the creation of it suggests that it's not just going to be a standard Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, I don't know, but it looks like it though. Like everything I know about Dynasty Warriors, I watched that trailer like, yep, that's a Dynasty Warriors game.
But here's the thing though, Paddy, you can hookshot the moon from Majora's Mask to kill a dragon. So, Game of the Year is all I'm saying.
It did look amazing when it happened as well. Yeah. But the footage on Treehouse again, I think, brought that game to life and showed exactly what you could do and the complexities and just how much fun it looks. So yeah, we then went into Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, which looks kind of like cute little plasticine funnage.
It's a Kirby game.
Yeah.
So it
Kirby's
will
epic plasticine.
Yeah, it will probably be good, but there's nothing much to go on based on what they showed, to be honest.
So then, Xenoblade Chronicles X. Put it inside of me now. It just looked incredible on the trailer, but the 35 minutes on Treehouse I've watched 3 times so far. Gobsmacking scenery, the same composer from Attack on Titan and Kill la Kill. The story was detailed with 2 alien races coming to battle over Earth, and Earth trying to escape on giant freighters, and one of them getting attacked, and kind of this snow globe that says the United States being dropped on an alien planet, which is actually New Los Angeles. Dinosaurs, mechs, monsters, the amazing battle system from Xenoblade Chronicles. It's just a dream. And I can't wait for that game. It just looks astonishing.
I think this is one of the ones where the Treehouse stuff must have helped, because the trailer on that, again, did nothing for me.
Treehouse stuff's essential.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, this just looks like game intro. Yeah, there's lots of quotes out of context and none of it makes much sense. Like, I got way more excited by the one they showed, was it last year, where it was just walking around and going to jump in the robot and then going to be a jet for a bit. Yeah, like that was incredible. But
watch the Treehouse stuff.
Yeah, I might have to, because the trailer bit did 0, like not a flicker.
seriously watch the Treehouse stuff. I've watched it 3 times. It's incredible.
Okay. It's good to hear it got better then.
But yeah, I mean, it shows off a lot of the gameplay in intricate detail. How amazing and huge the world looks, and it's just a place that I want to adventure in. Josh?
No, I agree with it. Sorry.
No, you're right. I realised that I was just rattling on for about a week because I'm just in awe of it.
I basically agree with everything you said. I've yet to play the original Xenoblade Chronicles, and I kind of want to get that done first before diving into this game. But yeah, it's selling something I want, so yeah, I'll probably get it.
So then we went into Mario Maker, which I don't know if it's going to be a download or a retail product.
It has to be download.
God, if that's not a download, Jesus Christ, yeah.
Yeah, so there's no way that's retail.
So then we leapt into Splatoon.
Yeah, boy.
Multiplayer game where you play as cute squid kids, cover the area with your paint gun. The most ground covered wins. You can turn into a squid and swim in your own paint, and you can move faster in that. And then on the Treehouse stuff, sort of later on, they showed off a lot more of the strategies, like whilst the paint on the wall doesn't count, they showed somebody basically turning into a squid and hiding in the paint on the wall and then popping out behind somebody when they move past them. And the whole thing just looked fantastic. I think it showed that Nintendo have got some fresh young talent that are coming to the fore as well. And I saw something in an article today which said that which was going along those lines, which said that it could have been Mario Paint Gun, and it's not.
Yeah,
I was rather happy to see it. Yeah, not skinned with a Mario on top, because that's one of the little things that annoys me at Nintendo. They do lean a little bit heavily on his shoulders, but it was nice to see them do a clean break and do something. And seriously, I watched that trailer. I sat and I went, "Yep, brilliant. Yep, I will play the shit out of that." That was great.
Yeah.
I think it was one of those games where it was more interesting the more they talked about it. Because at first you're like, okay, Squid Girls, yeah, cool. But then they started talking about the mechanics and like all these clever things you could do. And you go, actually, this sounds like it's going to be a really deep multiplayer game with lots of different strategies and stuff like that. So, and it's Nintendo doing what they do best, where they take an established idea and then, do their own twist on it. Like, they did that with Advanced Wars, with the turn-based strategy genre and all that. So, I'm excited. I think it's really healthy that Nintendo are finally exploring new IP again. So, it looks good.
And it is exciting to see that, if this is what the young talent at Nintendo are coming up with, then, what are they... Is there any other talent like that that's being given their head to run with something of their own creation and bring it to the floor? I'd really like to see more and more of that. So we then had a little bit with Miyamoto. They announced that Star Fox was incoming. He showed surprisingly early footage for Miyamoto stuff of something called Project Giant Robot that he's tinkering around with, and Project Guard. Project Giant Robot was a kind of beat 'em up thing with weight, where you had to lean the gamepad in directions to kind of swing the physicality of the robot to one side or the other, and I couldn't quite grasp it more than that, but it seems that Miyamoto is a little bit fascinated with it. I'm curious to see where he takes it. And then Project Guard looked like a tower defense game, but you've got a load of cameras on the gamepad and little variations of robots that are walking up, and you can select the different characters and control laser guns, and it did look fun.
I can't comment. I mean, I must have watched a different stream because I caught up the second half of Nintendo's conference. I only literally watched it today because when I watched it live, I had to go make dinner and never got around to it. I have seen nothing about these last two games.
I think they were only on Treehouse, actually, now that I think about it. Well, I don't think they were actually during the digital event.
Yeah, it must have been on Treehouse, yeah. because it was not long after the event that they announced that Devil's Third was coming to Wii U, former THQ game.
Exclusive, isn't it now?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Third-person kind of shoot and slash 'em up from a former not Ninja Theory. Who's the guys that do Ninja Gaiden?
Team Ninja.
Team Ninja, that's it. And the original THQ trailer seemed to have quite a few characters in there. It seems to have a little bit of a sense of humour to it. It can leap into between third person and first person, and that's another one of those that sort of gave a bit more of an idea of itself when it was shown on Treehouse as well.
But again, yeah, not seen a sprinkle of that yet.
Yeah, it looks all right.
Cool.
We'll see how it develops, I think. So yeah, the Treehouse stuff I just thought was fantastic. Afterwards, it was there were points where close to 50,000 people were watching it on Twitch, and it really went into detail, like massive amounts of detail on the likes of Xenoblade Chronicles, Hyrule Warriors, Splatoon, Bayonetta. All of the presenters who, as I understand it, actually work for Nintendo anyway, behind the scenes, were really enthusiastic about the products. You've got the actual top creators coming on and showing off their games and going into detail about it. It was a pleasure to watch, and everybody just seemed so enthused. And not in a cheesy kind of fake way either. It was like, oh my god, this is really good.
Yeah. Especially, like, I was watching the Bayonetta footage on Treehouse, and it looked, it sounded like everyone knew what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Which was really refreshing. Like, everyone had played Bayonetta and knew the complexities and what the appeal of that series was. So, yeah, it was good to see that.
It was interesting on that Bayonetta one, because they were saying that... was it the Link costume? They were saying we initially put her in an undershirt, and Nintendo said, "Oh, you don't need to do that. You can have your head." And it looked like Nintendo weren't throttling them at all. They were encouraging them to do whatever they wanted, which is what I got from the Hyrule Warriors stuff as well. That they were.
Yeah, I think that it's highlighted a good, Treehouse stuff highlights a good point of, I think, what makes a good showing at E3. It's seeing a game playing and then being told what you're seeing. Yeah. And having it explained, like Splatoon did great with that Sunset Overdrive. You could watch them doing it and playing it, and it looked fucking brilliant. Tell us what's happening on the screen. Tell us why it's awesome. No Man's Sky, tell us why it's great. And we watched it, and it's like, yeah, great. That's why it's great. But a lot of the trailers I was cold on were the ones that didn't really know much about the game when it was finished. Like, well, what is it? Tell us about the game. That's what they do. Information is king.
But if you're comparing all of this to just how empty the likes of the EA conference were in particular, it just shows that up for its kind of night before cobbled together, which is what it felt like.
All the different sort of arms of their studios are gone. It's all right. The other guys will have stuff.
Yeah,
we'll do ours later. They'll cover us this year. Wait, you didn't. We thought you were bringing a game. Did you? Wait,
E3's on Monday.
Yeah. It's like you're going for a picnic and nobody's bought sandwiches.
So then Nintendo had a mystery announcement to make, which was set aside for about an hour and a half, I think. And folks were thinking that it was going to be Majora's Mask on 3DS, given that Nintendo had hired what would normally be a conference room to have a Smash Brothers tournament, which was fantastic to see anyway. But Zelda Williams brought out a Majora's Mask kind of mask and had it on the front of her little podium when she was playing, and everybody thought that was a teaser for this announcement, but it wasn't. It's just hers, and she just wanted to bring it for good luck. But the announcement turned out to be Project Steam from the developers of Fire Emblem. Looks a little bit like XCOM, but more 3D, influenced by Jack Kirby, Mike Mignola, and American comics in general. Abraham Lincoln puts together a team to save the world from an alien invasion. Some of the stuff that they went into on Treehouse later was superb for it. Like, they were saying that the only way that you can get a top view of the area that you're that you're battling in is to sacrifice one of your people and put them on the highest point so they can look down, so that when you actually go to that person, you see their viewpoint. Otherwise, you're tracking behind the actual character themselves. Love that Nintendo took this amount of time out for a game that was developed by the people that did Fire Emblem, and that they could really nerd out on it, and it looked fun and it looked different, and it looks like a really good game.
Yeah, it does. And I really like Fire Emblem Awakening as well, so I'm really excited to see what those guys do with a more XCOM-inspired version of that game. So, yeah, it looks good.
So, yeah, that comes to the end of our conference goodness. Josh, what would you say are your top 5 games of the show?
So number 5 is Super Smash Brothers, both 3DS and Wii U, just because everything I hear about that game sounds like it's going to be a great tournament fighter. I like all the characters that they're adding in. I think Mega Man fits right in with that cast of characters. And now Pac-Man's been announced as well. Yeah. So, like, it's just all the legendary figures of history in one game now. That looks really good. I think the tournament they held at E3 really sold me on the game, to be honest. Like, showing that game could stand up to that kind of competition showed me that it's going to be a great fighting game. Number 4 for me is Bayonetta 2. Huge fan of Bayonetta 1, so of course I'm going to love Bayonetta 2. Number 3 is Bloodborne. I don't really need to tell you guys why I'm excited for Bloodborne. It's Miyazaki's next game. Number 2 is Legend of Zelda. This is mainly here because I'm a huge Legend of Zelda fan, and everything they're talking about that game gets me excited for what they're going to do in the future, despite the fact that we know so little about it at this point. But number 1, by a country mile, was No Man's Sky for me, just because it felt like nothing I'd seen before. It seemed impossible. So, and it seemed like the game that we've all been dreaming about that's never actually come to fruition. So, super, super excited for No Man's Sky.
Patrick.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, my top 5. I'm going to do a top 6 because I think something does need a little mention. I'd feel terrible.
You're gonna have to cut something. Top 5 or nothing.
But we didn't talk about it in the show, and we glossed over it, and I just wanted to mention it.
You're going to have to make a decision. I love you, but this needs to happen.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll move it away, but I'll hint that the fact that user-generated content is into it has made me happy. Right, number 5 for me was actually Splatoon. I thought it was a really good idea, really clever idea on the sort of the team shooter that isn't just fucking Team Fortress again. Really cool ideas. Everything they showed of it looked fun. It looked exactly like the kind of sort of silly little shooter you could just pick up and just play it and just have fun with without getting angry. It looked fun. Okay, number 4 for me is Tom Clancy's The Division. Every time I see that game, I get excited. I want to play it. It looks like just the sort of thing you could pop on, rob about. It sounds like the missions you get. You get them. You just hear some bullets over there. You think, all right, what's over there? Looks like it plays well. I like the idea of the sort of the semi-connected world in there as well. It just likes the sort of thing I could sit down and lose myself in. Number 3 for me is Destiny this year. Not so much for the stuff we saw at E3, which was kind of cool, but whatever. More the fact that I've been playing it this week, and it was shown, and I've played it, and like with my hands and my face, I have learned that it is good, and I've learned that I want it. And the fact that E3 happened and sort of let me play it, the fact that I don't think they'd have put the the demo out if they hadn't had the E3 show. The fact they did that, fantastic. Put it in our hands, let us play it, brilliant. So that's why Destiny's my number 3. Number 2, Bloodborne. I think we all know why. It's that new game from Miyazaki, the guy that made the Soul series. You might have heard of it. And for me, number 1, with a bloody country mile, No Man's Sky, for every single reason that Josh said. It looks like the thing we've always wanted, and it looks real, and it looks like it's going to bloody work. And put it in me. Seriously, put it in me. Yeah, so that's my top 5. Quite similar, I think, really. And when you get to the top, CJ.
Right. My number 5 is the Master Chief Collection. I am a huge Halo nerd, and I think that having all of those games on one disc with a TV series with all of the multiplayer, I think it's a great price point. It's nice to see those games all being put in one place, and it actually made me excited or made me curious to get an Xbox One, I guess. So yeah, that would be my number 5. Number 4 is Splatoon. Just looks like raging fun, and the amount of laughter that I've had on Mario Kart of late, I can just imagine getting together with a bunch of people and just having a stupendous time with it. And I've seen footage thereafter showing off weapons that haven't been on any of the trailers as well. So I'm curious to see what else they've got up the sleeves for that. 3 Zelda. I was just gobsmacked by that footage. It stole my heart away. It looked absolutely beautiful. And I want to go to there. 2 would be Xenoblade Chronicles X. For all the reasons that I gushed earlier. I am a bit of a sci-fi nerd. And the feeling of running down green fields in Xenoblade Chronicles was just jaw-dropping. It was like being told to get out of the house in the school holidays and just wandering to adjacent villages and towns and getting a little bit lost. There was a real sense of wonder there, and seeing that sparkled up and a little bit different, a little bit new, and knowing the level of adventure that I had with the previous game, I'm all over that like it's made of ham. And then number 1 would be Bloodborne. It's Miyazaki. I need it.
So I think there was no doubt that Bloodborne was going to be up there for all of us, was there?
Well, it's weird because when I heard you guys talking, I was like, oh man, I haven't put No Man's Sky in there. And then I looked down on my list, I was like, where's Bayonetta 2? And it's just, yeah, there was some harsh cuts. But it's great that there are so many games that were shown at E3 which look genuinely good fun. And even if I don't get to play them, the folks who've got those consoles will have tons to play, and it'll be interesting to see the conversation that bounces around because of them, and consoles that get bought because of them. And yeah, it was just a really, really great conference. And
a really games-focused conference as well. Like the fact that it was hard to choose a top 5. Like I found it hard to choose a top 5.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
And for all the snark you get online about, just about everything, it's really nice to be kind of excited again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just think, look at all this cool stuff that's coming, guys. Video games. Hotline Miami 2 has a fucking level editor. Hotline Miami 2 has a level editor. Seriously. Why are people not more excited about that?
I mean, I've seen pockets of fanboyisms that have been mentioned elsewhere on the internet, but across my Twitter, it was just people really, really loving games for the most part. And the biggest outpouring of that, and probably the biggest surprise, was the reaction to Nintendo stuff, because it was uniformly positive. And the amount of folks that I've seen that have been out to buy Wii U's this weekend on the back of it, really, really made me happy, because it's a great console that more people need to give time to.
Yeah.
So basically, good job, E3. You did well this year.
Yeah. Happy trio that we be. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Josh. It's been amazing to have you on, and I've genuinely loved the conversation between both of these podcasts, so very much appreciated.
My pleasure.
And where can people find you, and what are you up to next?
Right, yes. So people can find me at kaneandrinse.com or on the podcast. Kane and Rinse is a podcast where we take a game or a series of games and we dissect them and analyze them in detail. You can also find a bunch of interesting articles, videos up on our website. Yeah, that's me.
And can people say hello to you on the Twitters?
Oh yes, you can find me at Combine Hunter on Twitter.
Cool. Right. Well, we shall be going into Twin Humanities after this, as opposed to the the Humanities that this one is. So there should be a new Twin Humanities coming within the next couple of weeks.
And by the time that comes out, we should finally have our hosting sorted. Big inroads have been made this week, so we will finally be back on the iTunes and everything like we used to be. So thank you all for bearing with us. It's been a bit of a month.
Yes, but thank you again, and goodbye.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.